This is Traces of Nuts Live. Welcome, and today, how to make an iced coffee. Fill a glass with ice. Add milk. Add coffee syrup or coffee granules or some fresh espresso. Add a straw. Give it a bit of a stir. Bon appetit! Right, now we can do some cooking. Oh, grooveroonies. I worked out before I went live that we've got a static camera today and there's not going to be a lot of action on the bench. Scout Inquirer, how the hell are you? Hi, Ruth. Yes, we are making egg and bacon pie, the Stephanie Alexander version. I have put a link to the recipe. I found it online, so you groovers can access that. And at the moment, I've just rolled out the short crust pastry. I've lined a flan tin. I call them a quiche tin, but a flan tin that's got a removable base, so it can help you to push the fucker out when it's cooked. But it's a pretty low and slightly wider. They wanted like a 22 centimeter, I think, and I had like lots of 20 centimeters and then heaps of 25, 26 centimeters. So I've just chosen sort of a middle-sized one. We'll see how it turns out. Great, thanks, Scout. I've got a static camera, so you're just going to be looking at a cement bench top for most of the live. No, you're not. I'll be doing there'll be some action shots shortly. But yeah, I'm just having a break from writing the eulogy for Birdie's funeral tomorrow, and I'm making an egg and bacon pie so that Scotty and I have both got some food. Scotty is Birdie's partner. I'm going to run half of the pie down to him so that I know in the morning at least he'll have something decent to eat before the funeral. And I haven't made an egg and bacon pie for years, so this is like, home style comfort food cooking. But it was right before I went live. I was like, Tori, next time go live on your phone using your selfie stick in a wine bottle. I've got a selfie stick that's wedged in a wine bottle, and then I can adjust it and go up and down so you can see my face and all the rest of it. But at the moment, my webcam is actually hanging off the edge of a ring light on a tripod, and in the bottom of the screen, you can see my mouse, part of my laptop, and the stand that the microphone's on. Not that that probably makes any difference. Oh, thank you, Scout. I'm doing okay. It's just nice to have a little breather from eulogy writing. After I've finished baking the pie, I'm going to go for a really long walk and then come home and sit down and finish it. It's pretty much written. It's just got to be abbreviated a bit. It's a little bit long. Thanks, Scout. It's been a bit sad losing Being there, and I really struggled with her death. I've had a lot of people die, as a lot of you guys know, in the last few years since I've been on YouTube. In fact, one of the first lives I ever did was when my friend Julie died, and she died at the end of January after a summer of 6 other people that I loved all dying in a 3-week period in December. So, yeah, there's been quite a lot of deaths since I discovered the world of YouTube, but we're still getting my head around Mem dying and then also Birdie's prognosis, which was 2 to 6 months, and 2 weeks later she was gone. We were all trying to reconcile the fact we only had her for possibly, 8 more weeks, and 2 weeks later, 2 weeks into the 8 weeks, so to speak, she was gone. We were all hoping for 6 months, but I know you're here for me. I appreciate it, and I'm here for you too. But yeah, so sorry about the way the camera is set up. I will be doing a bit of cooking and stuff shortly. But just to let you know, I've already, because it needs to be in the fridge for like 30 minutes, I've rolled out the short crust pastry and I've lined the flan tin with the removable bottom base, or quiche tin, whatever you want to call it. I didn't think there was any point in me going live and doing that and then us all just sitting here for half an hour while we waited for it to chill. But I do have to fry up some bacon, so we'll do that next. But you're not even going to see the bacon frying up action because I can't move the camera. If I move the tripod, the camera is like literally dangling on. But next time, I've worked it out. I'll go live from my phone. I'll stick it in the selfie stick in a wine bottle and I'll be able to move it up and down. Just wasn't going to happen today. And I can't use my webcam in the selfie stick because it won't hold it. And the webcam's got like this weird clip on it that I can't remove, which is why it doesn't fit in lots of things. It's all very complicated. But if you just feel like having a chat, I'm able to read chat, so let's do some cooking. It'll taste amazing. And look, it may not be as deep as it has been when I've made it in the past, but that's also good in a way. I don't have a massive appetite, not because of Birdie dying, just generally. I like fairly small portions of things with lots of salad, so it'll suit me. Scotty will probably eat the whole half in one sitting, I reckon. But it's going to have like 11 or 10 or 11 eggs in it. Like it's a pretty rich pie. And I'll get some tips from you along the way if you guys make egg and bacon pies. I've got beautiful homemade relishes. I'm going to put some in a jar and take that down to Scotty with the pie as well. So let's cut up some bacon, shall we? Now, I was going to make the short crust pastry from scratch, and then I just went, no, you're grieving. You can buy it ready-made. Just do that. So that's what we're just doing. Oh, look, some action. You have no idea how far over my bench I have to lean to even use this for in the shop. But anyway, here we have bacon. I've already removed the rinds. You need 6 rashers, and we're just going to thickly slice it in some chunks. Just going to wash my hands. What's news with you guys? Tell me what you've all been up to. Because until the pastry's been chilled for half an hour, which will be in about 10 more minutes, there's not a lot we can do except for fry up the bacon. So I'm just turning on the hot plate that the frying pan is. Here you go. Here's an action shot. This is the pan I'm going to fry the bacon in. This was my mum's Le Creuset. Look how old and loved it is. It is clean, but there's some bits that just don't come off anymore. But I love it. And it cooks, everything I cook in this cooks perfectly, even though it's a bit battered and so on. See those marks and everything? Cooks like an absolute gem. It's called Superstar, that little frying pan of my mum's. Now, a lot of you know that I like to use kitchen scissors, so we're just going to kitchen scissor up. But you can do bacon in thin sort of slithers. You can do it in chunks. Just chop it up however you want. I'm going for chunky because this is going to be a very rustic pie. Do you guys make egg and bacon pies, quiches and stuff like that? This one is going to have a lid as well, but I'm going to make a lid with puff pastry, so you will get some rolling pin action a little bit later if you're still with me. But yeah, just roughly, it doesn't have to be consistent sizes. We are going to pan fry it as well, so as you all know, bacon does shrink a bit when you fry it in the pan. There's a little bit of fat on it, so I'm not going to put any oil in the frying pan. The oil and the fat comes out pretty quickly and it can cook in that. It's good to have comfort food though when you're grieving. I think I referred to this as the egg and bacon pie of grief in my description. That's my dark humour shining through. I've also picked up some ice cream and chocolate for my sister and I to eat tomorrow night. Angie's staying with me tomorrow night after the funeral, so I'm not here on my own, which, I'd be fine if I was. I'm a big girl, but it's really, really lovely that she's coming to stay, even though she'll just hang out with Biscuit most of the time anyway. She's a bit obsessed with her niece. You haven't had one for years? Neither have I. I mean, even like the local shop down the road from here, they make them. And I was looking when I was lining up to get the pastry and parsley and a few other ingredients yesterday. I was like, why don't you just buy one that's ready to go? And I'm like, nah, make one. So there's the bacon chopped up. I'm now going to transfer that over to the frying pan and fry it up a little bit. Because you want it to be just lightly fried, but you want it to be a little bit cooked before it goes in the oven. Speaking of the oven, let's put that on too. Now, for those of you that cook in Celsius, you want the oven at 180 degrees. Fahrenheit, I don't know, it'll be 300 and something, I think. That's on. But yeah, sorry about the static. I've only got one person watching. Look, I don't blame you. I'm just going to be live and chatting, and if anyone is around, then that's wicked. And if not, well, so be it. We might as well get the herbs done as well. We want parsley and lots of it. I love the old-fashioned curly parsley. A lot of people use the what we call Italian parsley, like the flat leaf, but I'm a big fan of the curly. That's roughly 2 tablespoons. It's probably a bit more, but I don't think you can ever have too much parsley, personally. The more the merrier. When it comes to herbage, I'm all for the herbage. So we're just going to give that a good chop. Stalks and all. I'm going to have to move this closer to me. Sorry, guys. And I can't lift the camera even a millimetre or it's going to fall. Whoops. It's curly and very great. 4 a.m., Ruth. Well, I admire your stamina. What's happening on YouTube? Have any YouTube creators gone live and talked about how fucked it is that Super Bowl's gone ahead? Any of those shouty Americans pissed off about that, or are they all still waiting to see receipts? What's going on? Some of you groovers move around the tubes a bit. I'll lean over. If my back starts to hurt, I'll move it closer to me again. Just going to give the bacon a bit of a twirl. You don't have to cook the bacon to the point that it's like crunchy. You just want to lightly fry it so it's got a bit. It's been cooked a little bit. But yeah, you don't want to cook it so that it's like how you'd have it crispy bacon on, with eggs and bacon or anything like that. But you do want to just give it a bit of a cook. I'll get it lightly browned so it's got a little bit of texture for when it bakes, but it won't be fried to buggery. Not much chatter tonight on YouTube. Laura has put Super Bowl in her title and something about the ads. Whoops. I had a horrible feeling that was going to happen. That's Shelley. That's Caroline's friend who I just wanted to get a little story from. I'm not going to be live for more than an hour, so I'll give her a call back. I did text her and I said I'm going to be out of action till about 4 o'clock, so she might have thought I'm out of action after 4, but I'll give her a bell back. It's a public holiday today here, so it's not like I've rung her at work or anything. Oh, yeah, so they're probably doing a reaction to the ads, those bloody gazillion-dollar ads. Now, the other thing you want to add is a herb of another description. about a tablespoon. The recipe, Steph Alexander's recipe, calls for chives, but I've got so many herbs here that I'm actually using some thyme from the garden, and you need about a tablespoon of that, but you can put whatever herb in addition. I mean, if you've only got parsley, that's fine as well. It's just to add another little herby dimension to the pie. So I'm currently, while we're chatting, I'm just plucking leaves of thyme. If any of you cook a lot with thyme, you'll know that there's a lot of little spindly stalks and little tiny leaves. I'm not too fussed about every single stalk being removed, but as much as possible. And then I'm just going to pop it on top of the parsley and chop it all up together. But yeah, if you want to add a bit more flavour, I mean, you could use oregano. You could use tarragon, but just use a little bit less, because tarragon's a really strong herb. Chives would be nice, but I like thyme. Hey, Gone Girl. What's this meal called again? So this is an egg and bacon pie with lots of herbs. Thank you, Ruth. Are you loving that ring? That's my only... Oh, no, it's not my only. I've got a necklace as well. That's a Tiffany O ring. Everyone thinks it's Oroton because it's an O, but it's not. It's actually a Tiffany ring. Just let that brown a little bit more. Yeah, so it's called an O ring. The little tiny skinny one next to it, which wasn't an overly expensive, like it was a $20 kind of ring. I don't know if I can show it to you so you can see it, but it's got it's got cat's ears on it. My sister gave me that for Christmas. So it's, yeah, a little ring with two little cat's ears. Cute, huh? And yeah, the knuckle duster. Doof, doof, doof. But I do love the little Bicky ears ring too. So anyway, we're just extracting some thyme leaves, and just getting some of the stalks out. But like I said, I don't mind if there's a few. We're going to whack that on top of the parsley and just give it a bit of a chop. The bacon's pretty much where I wanted it. A little bit brown but not crunchy. So we'll switch that off. So yeah, there's just a little bit of thyme. Hey, anyone got the time? I do. I've got to say, at least this camera is really clear, huh? Oh, I just, I cut up. Did you set me before with the scissors? You might have disappeared for a minute, Scout. I chopped them up. I love using kitchen scissors instead of knives where I can. So, yeah, I just did. I'll show you the bacon in a sec. But I just roughly chopped it up. And then you just lightly fry it. You don't fry it within an inch of its life because it's going to keep cooking when it goes into the oven. The pie's going to take about 40 minutes to cook, guys. So what I was planning on doing was I'll pop it in the oven. I'll call Shelley back and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. You can smell it through the screen. That's cool, Trixie. So there's a mixture of the chopped up parsley and thyme, about 3 tablespoons, of herbage. Okay. So that will be going in the pie shortly. Oh, the puppies had to go out. Well, that's important. So here's the bacon. So it was just sort of roughly chopped and then lightly fried. So it's not like crispy as fuck, but it's just got a bit of cookage through it because it'll keep cooking when it's in the pie. I don't know the reason behind that. I suppose it's so it cooks properly or something like that, but it smells amazing in the kitchen. Anyway, now I've just got to wait for another few minutes and then I'll bring the flan pan out of the fridge. Let's do this. I've got to make room for the flan pan. Hang on, I'll put the bacon there. Because then we're going to assemble it. You can smell your heater that turned itself on. It smells burnt. Oh, shit, Ruth. Is it that the smell of dust burning? So, yeah, in a few minutes, I'm going to bring out the flan pan, which has got the short crust pastry base in it. It's a pretty rough job, I might add, guys. I did buy pre-made pastry. I was originally going to make it from scratch, and then I was like, no, you've got a lot to do today, and including just chilling out and working on the eulogy. So buy the ready-made stuff, but one sheet was enough to cover the base just. So it's a pretty rough job. But that's just chilling at the moment. But we're heading into assembly of the pie phase. In fact, I reckon it's been in at half an hour now, so it's chill, man. It's chill. There's the pastry base. That's the flan tin. So it's not a really deep one. I have got deeper ones that are smaller, and I ummed and ahed, and then I just went, no, just go with that one, and let's see what happens. I don't remember which pan I used to make my egg and bacon pies in when I was at uni, and I swear to God, that was the last time I made one. So we're talking like the 80s, mid to late 80s. Make a cookbook. Well, I've got a website I am going to start uploading, but the recipe for this is in the link. There's a link to it in the description. I found it online, the Stephanie Alexander version. And she's an amazing Australian cook. Everyone gets her compendium. Well, not everyone, but a lot of us get it. I got the original one. It's changed. There's now like one with a rainbow cover, rainbow stripes, but this was the original one. But it's like the cook's companion, and it's got everything in there from like what herbs go with which veggies and all sorts of stuff, and lots of basics. But for things like anything that's sort of what I call comfort food, home cooking, I always go to her book because everything I've made out of her book has been a winner. And I haven't actually made this before, but I already know it'll be amazing because her stuff is amazing. No, I cheated, Scout, because I'm in the middle of writing a eulogy, so I wasn't going to fuck around making pastry today. So I bought ready-made short crust and puff pastry. And I have no guilt about that either. I've got things to do. I went down to the hall where the funeral is to help the florists, and they weren't there. I haven't had an SOS yet, so hopefully everything's okay. But if not, in the morning I'll go down, and if they need anything from here, I can just pop back and get it. The service isn't until 1, so there'll be time in the morning to come and get more stools and tables. But her mum, Bertie's mum, was worried all the flowers would be on the floor. She was hoping for some tables and stools to elevate them a bit. But, yeah, the florists weren't there, and I sent Jill a message, but I haven't heard any need to go back there yet, So 2/3 of the bacon. Yes, I did just pick a piece up off the bench. I wipe my benches and clean them before I cook every time, so don't think I'm being a grub. Or if you do, I don't give a fuck. I'm grieving. I get a leave pass because I'm grieving. But yeah, so about 2/3 of the bacon, and you just spread that over the base. Then we're going to put half of the herbage, half of the chopped herbage goes in next around the base as well. You don't have to be too precious about where the bacon goes, as long as it's covering it. I mean, there's still more bacon to go on the pie as well. And now we're going to do the fun bit, the eggs. Hey, Easy Money. What's to eat? Were you just eating a pizza? Yeah, I had a pizza, 3.5 hours ago for lunch. This is actually, I'm baking this for tomorrow, so I've got some food in the house before the funeral, and the other half, I'm keeping half of the pie and the other half is going down to Birdie's partner. Birdie's the girl whose funeral's tomorrow. So I'm dropping some food down for him so he's got something to eat in the morning. But I've got separate food for dinner. This is for tomorrow. So we need 10 eggs now. 10 motherfuckers. 10. If you've got chooks and shitloads of eggs, this is a great way to use them up. You want to break them one by one into a bowl or a glass. I'm just using a little ramekin. I'll lean over and do some live for you so you can see. And you just literally slip them into the pastry case, trying to keep them whole. But Stephanie does say, not in the recipe book, but her updated version, she says you can keep the eggs like that, the yolks whole, or you can pierce them with a fork and it makes it spread out. Now, I've always gone with the whole. I've never broken the eggs, and I was umming and ahhing and thinking, do I go whole or do I break them? But I think I'm just going to stick with tradition and go whole. They're a bit prettier when you slice it and stuff. Look at you judging me, easy money. Oh, okay, if it's for tomorrow. I've hardly eaten any. When people die, I don't have an appetite at all. So if I was eating 300 pizzas today, I'd be happy because I have eaten in the last few days, but nowhere near as much as, well, the last week, really. Birdie died on the 30th of January, and I've had a bit of a struggle with my appetite ever since. I always do. Even with the eggs, you don't have to be precious, but there's no cream in this recipe. Some of you might be expecting a heap of cream to get poured in or something next, but it's actually the egg whites that kind of cook and set and hold it all together. I mean, we could pierce some of the eggs and not some of the other ones. I don't know. What do you guys think? Hey, Sumi. Scrambled? No, they're going in whole, as you can see. Of course, we've got to do one in the middle. And the last one, it is really nice to see you, Sumi. You're really digging this recipe? Cool. This is such old-fashioned cooking. So there's our 10 eggs. Now, if you're a bit pedantic and want things to be pretty, I don't know if this will work or not, but you could move the yolks around a bit to try and make it more symmetrical. You could move them. You could have put them a bit closer. I'm happy with how they are. They're going to cook. All the egg whites cook as well, and it sort of holds it all together. But like I said, in the link version, if you guys go to her website, down the bottom she says that you can actually pierce the yolks and then it kind of flattens it all out and spreads out a bit more, but it's entirely up to people what they do. Next up, salt and pepper. It's eggs, guys. You can't have eggs without salt. Well, if you can, good on you, but I can't. So go nuts. Season this little fucker like crazy with both the salt and the pepper. You want heaps of flavour and seasoning rocks. Now, I normally would have put rock salt in, but for some reason I grabbed the grinder. But yeah, lots of pepper, lots of salt. You like my clock? Oh, I've made a clock. It's a clock. So easy. And it used to be, real budget food when we were uni students. A packet of bacon would have like a dozen rashers and we would get, enough ingredients to make 2 of these. And it's what we would live on for lunches. That would be our uni lunches. Would be egg and bacon pies or brekkie. Oh, cool, you're going to make this. That's a lovely idea. And it's such great comfort food. It's beautiful with some salad on the side. It's gorgeous on its own, hot or cold, with some tomato relish. Yeah, but it's really lovely comfort food, and it just tastes like that food that your grandma used to make. So yeah, it's pretty special. Now we're just going to put the last bits of bacon on top. Steph says be careful, and I think she's meaning you don't want to break any of the yolks with the bits of bacon. So we're just going to put the remaining, the 1/3. We left a third of bacon out, so then that goes in. Just pop it in spots where you think it needs a bit of colour and a bit of garnish, whatever. There's shitloads of bacon, so don't worry about it. But just, yeah, pop it in places where you think there could be a bit more bacon action. It's an egg and bacon clock. Mary's right. Gone Girl's right. That yolk broke, so we do have one rogue yolk in the mix. And then we're going to put the remaining parsley and thyme. But like I said earlier, 2 tablespoons roughly. I've gone a bit more than that because I love herbs. I think they make food really pretty, and also I just love the flavour of herbs. But you could do 3 tablespoons of parsley if that was the only herb you had, or you could chop up another herb, a tablespoon, and add it to the parsley. And I chose to go with thyme because I think thyme's really yummy with eggs. But you could use anything you like. The only one I would say is if you decide to go with tarragon, I'd do 2.5 tablespoons of parsley and then a half a tablespoon of tarragon because it's such a strong herb. Bacon action, exactly. Who doesn't love that? Coriander, yeah, you could. I mean, it'd give it a Thai flavour. If you did use coriander, I'd do, rather than a relish, I'd serve it up with a sweet chili sauce. And you'd have like a Thai sort of egg and bacon pie. Just going to move that to the side. Now, like I said, I have cheated and I did buy ready-made pastry because I've got a eulogy to write. Bit of flour on your board. Don't need much. You can use those silicone mats and stuff, but I'm not into that shit. I like all the old-fashioned things. So this is puff pastry on the top, short crust on the bottom, puff on the top. And we're just going to roll that out. I have got a rolling pin, but if you don't, you can use a wine bottle. Hang on, I'll just get rid of this carton of eggs. And I've got to lean right over. I'm actually going to move this even further across so it doesn't get destroyed in the rolling. It has got handles, but it's a really old one and they're loose and they give me the shits. Here comes a critic. Reese, how are you? I haven't seen you forever. Tarragon's beautiful in a white sauce, isn't it? I love tarragon, but some people just get a bit crazy with it and go overboard. Same as dill. Dill is such a beautiful herb, but people go, no, I don't like it. It's too strong. It's because people have used too much. You just need a tiny bit of dill, a tiny bit of tarragon. So if you were going to put tarragon in this pie, yeah, just do like half a tablespoon and put in an extra half a tablespoon of parsley. So we're just going to roll this out to try and make it relatively pie-shaped. Credit card. I should have done that for a joke. I think I'm getting my sense of humour back again. I hate it when you're sad about something and you just feel like you're... Not that I haven't been laughing. We've been having lots of laughs and remembering all sorts of fun things that Birdie did. And a friend of mine sent me a video of her watching, like she's watching a music, like TV channel was on, but it was a music channel. And she's just standing there watching it and it was an ABBA song. And then she spins around and someone was actually filming her. She had no idea. that someone was filming her and she spins around with her bottle. That's not Shelley. I don't know who that was. Phone's going off like a frog in a sock. Yeah, but she spins around and is busting out an ABBA song using her, I think it was cider bottle as a microphone. Is my puff pastry pie crust? This is the lid. It's the lid of the pie. So it's the top of it. No, the base is short crust. And the top is puff. So, hey, Will the Rocker. Hi, Thingamajig. Bring a bottle of wine. Bring it on, Goyle. Bring it on. As you know, I can't drink wine at the moment. I can't drink anything at the moment, as most of you know. But also, I don't want to go to Birdie's funeral tomorrow with a hangover. And I especially don't want to do a eulogy at a funeral with a hangover. No, siree. But trust me, I will have a cheeky little wine or champagne or something for her at the wake. So anyway, that's rough. Like I said, rough. Rough is fine as long as it covers the flan pan, which I'll bring back into shot. Oh, cool. You got it. Cool, Scout. So we just whack the lid on. It was rolled out far enough, which is absolutely fabulous news. You kind of want it just to settle a bit down. And if it doesn't, because it's a fairly snug fit, I'm actually going to help it out a little bit to just settle down a bit. It will have little bumps because, as you know, there's yolks, but that just adds to the prettiness of it, I reckon, that it's got a few little bumpy bits, and you just let it settle down. It looks good on the screen. I can see what I'm talking about. Oh, you got some snow. Girlfriend's 2-year-old Olivia is going to have such a shock. Oh, how exciting. I am, Will, darling. I am. Thank you. So we're just going to get our scissors, because that's what I use, but you can use a knife if you're into using knives. We're just going to trim around and make sure that it's sealed, as in the top and the base are touching. You want the short crust and the puff to mix and to connect. And you can use water to press bits together if you need to. But just trim these little excess bits off. Because it's a puff pastry, it's going to get this beautiful, crispy, light lid on it. You don't have to be too precious. Like I said, I'm pretty rustic with my cooking. If there's a little bit of the flan pan showing, just cut a piece of the excess and just patch it up. Once it's cooked, you won't even know. You won't even see the patch job. And if you're a rustic cook, I think the more patch jobs and mistakes, the better. That's the beauty of home-cooked food. Even when I go to a restaurant, I like it if things look a little bit rustic rather than perfect. I mean, I can admire a work of art food restaurant, but it's not, I can't be fucked. I don't have the patience all the time to make my things look like they belong in a cookbook, you know, or an art gallery. Now, for the top of the flan in the pan, get an egg. Biscuit's doing, oh shit. Biscuit's doing, oh well, I'll make a cinnamon roll. There's not much left over of the pastry. It's pretty tiny. It'll be a cinnamon finger, I think. But yeah, waste not, want not. But yeah, there's a tiny bit of pastry left. I'll be able to make something small and yummy just to have as a piece for afternoon tea. So just get your egg, drop in a pinch of salt from your salt pig if you've got one. Loves me the sea salt. And whisk it up. I've got one of these funky little spring whisks. I love them. I used to swear by baby whisks, these little ones, but they're great when they're working, but they fall apart. You're constantly replacing them and they give me the shits. These little guys cost a bit more, but they live on and on. And if you're making like a salad dressing and you've got a little jug, you just boing, 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 boing it and watch the magic happen. So I'm actually going to boing, boing. Oh, it's not quite the same with an egg. But yeah, just whisk it up. Oh, Will likes my bracelet. Thank you, darling. The little red bits, that's the period. That's what my niece tells me. She hates eggs. She's like, you're eating a period. I mean, it's an egg, you know. It's the way babies are made, so there will be a wee bit of blurred. Now, some of you know that I completely torched the crap out of my basting brush on my barbecue a few weeks ago. So I picked up a Betty Crocker silicone one from the local shop. I've got to say I was impressed. Now, this doesn't tell me to put any little slots in the pastry or anything. It just says put the egg on top, brush it on. Doesn't say to put any slits at all. Do you think we should? Or should we trust Stephanie? I tend to think we trust Stephanie because Stephanie's never let me down. I'm surprised that it doesn't require air holes. I might actually just check. Let me just look and see if her recipe on the website says to. No. The only thing she's added that's not in the book is that you can pierce the yolks if you want a more layered pie. So we're just, and you want to use, like, make sure that you cover every single bit of pastry because this is going to help with the colour. It's going to make it go a really gorgeous golden brown. And you want a pretty golden brown pie. You don't want it to be all white and creepy looking. I'm not going to do the whole egg because there's a lot of egg, but I'm just making sure I've got all the edges done. Looks pretty good, guys. So I'm going to chuck this little fucker in the oven. Puff pastry, you don't need slits. Thank you, Gone Girl. In she gone. Hey, Google, set a timer for 35 minutes. Now,
35 minutes, and that's starting now.
Woohoo! So I'm going to end this live. I need to call Shirley back. Thank you. You learn something new every day. No air holes with puff pastry. Thank you, Ruth and Gone Girl. See, I don't make a lot of, and do the egg wash or the crust will burn. Thanks, Scout. I'm going to come back later, 35 minutes later. Shirley, you can't be serious. I know. Why did I call Shirley? I'm going to call her back, get her little story, because then I can finish the eulogy, because that's the only little gap is a story from Shelley. And I'll come back live when it's cooked. Basically, you bake it for 35 minutes. When it's nice and rich and golden, it comes out of the oven. You want it to cool down before you remove it from the tin. And like I said earlier, you can serve it. Yeah, I'm serious and stop calling me Shelley. Nice beaver. Thank you. I had it stuffed yesterday. So yeah, I will come back later and show you the finished result, and I will let it cool down so I can actually slice it and show you what it looks like when it's sliced. And then I'm going to rush down to Scotty's with half of it and some relish. Love you, Will. Sweet dreams, Groover. That movie's a hoot. I still quote it. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. But thanks, Groovers, for hanging out. Like I said, the link to the recipe is in the description. I've got a bit of cleaning up here to do. I've egg washed my bench. I love you guys, and yeah, pop back later. I'll show you the finished product. Stay groovy, everyone.